Imagine you have a nice dinner with a bow and you have to wear a bow tie. Then what kind of table napkin you would do? There we go, the bow tie fold. This bow tie fold is the perfect setting for your dinner if a bow tie is requested. And we have something special today as well. I'm going to show you how to fold the real bow tie. A bow tie fold you will need with a dress shirt. Welcome to Blue NTS, your channel for your utility foldings. Today you will learn how to fold the bow tie as table napkin and as a shirt fold. Stay tuned and learn. Most likely you have been joining this video because you actually wanted to know how a bow tie works. So I will show you. To make this beautiful bow fold, which looks like a bow tie, but using a table napkin and a table napkin ring. And depending on which kind of ring you're using, you can make this fold as nice as possible. Let's give it in a very luxurious. What do you need for this table napkin ring fold is a table napkin of 50 by 50 centimeters and a table napkin ring. Any size matters. Don't use too large ones. I would recommending you using 3 to 4 centimeter napkin ring. All colors are good. However, if they are made from metal, especially precious metal, this fold looks even perfect. You could also use these folds for a special occasion dinner. For example, using chopsticks, it gives a very special appearance. If this food being served comes more from Southeast Asia or around China, then this would be a nice fold to put the chopsticks there. Please also remember that you will need a chopstick holder, usually a knife holder, which I'm using here in a version of a glass one. These will keep the chopsticks clean and don't touch the surface of the table. Again, to the bow tie. This bow tie fold uses any kind of ring. I would go for precious metal ones, as we will see later on. It gives a very luxurious and royal aristocratic appearance. The napkin ring made from porcelain, which looks also very nice. Now let's get started. To start, you need a table napkin. 50 by 50 or 20 by 20 inches. So 50 by 50 centimeters or 20 by 20 inches. This fold is as large as This fold is quite large actually. I am measuring out my table napkin rings so that I know if the table napkin will perfectly fit into the ring. This, of course, you don't have to do. If you have one type of table napkin ring, you don't have to do that actually. It's just making sure that everything fits. Now we have done all our measurements. Let's get started. But before we start, we always have to clean. Meaning taking off the... Oh no! Let's make the measurements first. Here are the measurements. This table napkin is about 3 centimeters in the middle, about 25 centimeter in width, and a small 15 centimeters in height. Now, before we start, let's clean up the table. Let's have some space to work with. By now, you already realized that Kitty Cat is on the upper right, where the logo of Blue Nightshades is, so she's watching. And now we're going to start. I'm using also a folding bone, a handy tool to use. And then I crease the table napkin in the middle, also keeping track of the hem, because we don't want to see the hem later on. Then we do this with the opposite side. Crease the plications very well, all the ones. So again, fold them in half, making sure where the half is. Now we crease them again. We have a square of 25 by 25 centimeters. We have our square. We make the plications again. I just folded the napkin again, so I know where the half is. Then this half marks for the other halves, where I'm now crease the pleats, making sure that they are sharp and crisp. Then I am measuring out where I want to have my final pleats, the bow tie pleats. I used the same measurement as my ring is, so about 2.5–3 centimeters. And then I put them almost right to the middle, so every pleat is the same. Now I crease also these pleats. And then I turn around the napkin so the nice side is up. And I put the upper and the lower edge, or I take them up as you see here. So using my index finger to hold the middle down. Now I'm taking my brass ring and I slide it over. And here you see why creasing the pleats are so important, because now the edges are very crisp. They are much more crisp than the napkin on the upper left. And you also realize that using a very nice brass napkin ring, this bow tie even becomes more sharp. And now I use some accessories to even flourish this fold a bit more. And there we go, that's it. For the professional amongst you, you can use ribbon band instead of the table napkin ring. I would use yellow ribbon band. And what I also would recommend you is using ribbon band which is not too thick, because that goes through the vacuum cleaner. And with a bit of practice you can do 2 to 3 folds a minute. You could do 120 folds an hour with a bit of practice. Now comes the folding along, and skip to the end if you want to know how to fold the real bow tie using a bow tie. Thank you for now, and bye bye. you are now all the way through to the bow tie fold. Here I'm preparing the bow tie for being folded. It has some creases here and there, so I'm trying to get rid of them. Dip the bow tie in demineralized water. Don't use any other water. It needs to be demineralized, as there are no residues in the water, and then you will not have any residues on the bow tie. Once that's done, we take another cloth and an iron, and we slightly iron the bow tie where the creases are. Use a cloth like a towel type of cloth I'm using here to make sure that the heat of the iron is not directly touching the material of the bow tie. This bow tie is made out of silk, so silk is very delicate and you need to be very careful, otherwise it will burn quite easily. The water will now also evaporate, and if it's demineralized water, you won't have any residues. In conjunction with the bow tie fold are great. Together with the bow tie napkin fold is this bow tie fold the perfect complement to any table setting. As a background thing to know, you could tell your guests that the bow tie is originating from the 17th century. So this was then called cravat, and from the cravat we got this. The bow tie came into fashion in the 18th and 19th century. For a bow tie you use a hidden button board shirt or a hidden placket shirt. Other than a tie or cravat, a bow tie will not hide the buttons or the placket. Finally, all our preparations are done. Just before we start, I did not show this, put up the collar. That's important. Makes it easier for the fold. To start, one end should be longer, about 1.5 inches than the other end. I am using here the left end to be longer than the right end. Once that's done, cross the longer end over the shorter end. The next step is to tie the long end around the short end, going underneath the short end as just shown. At almost the same time, you make a bow with the short end, as I just did. As you also take the long end and pull it over the short end. So we have now the first bow. Here it becomes a bit fiddly, because now we need to use the long end again and put it through a small hole in the short end. So what I do is I call this a butterfly, see? And then I take the long end, fold it, and then I put it through that small hole over there, which you have seen with my finger. So you have now 2 loops, and one loop is underneath the one bow and the other loop is above the bow, as you see here. I'm just making sure there are no creases. I'm taking out all the pleats. That's a bit fiddly, and that's the reason why I fold the bow tie like this, because now you can really see how it looks like. In order to tighten the bow or this fold, you use the both looped ends of the bow tie, the looped ends, and then you pull these looped ends, and then you can tighten the bow tie, and making sure that the pleats are perfect as you wish. After this, you put down the collar again, and you can adjust the bow tie, so you exactly see how the bow tie will look like. Here it's also possible to adjust the length of the bow tie, so you know if it fits to your shirt. I recommend doing a bow tie, any tie actually, to learn how to fold it the way I do it, and not in front of a mirror, because sometimes you don't have a mirror. Sometimes you want to just check how the bow tie or the tie will look at your shirt. Not using a mirror also helps you to learn this skill quite easily and to teach others, because that way you can stand next to each other or sit next to each other and show each other how a bow tie works. And we are done. The bow tie fold. You made it all the way through. This concludes this video, and therefore I would like to thank you and wish you a pleasant day. Thank you very much. Bye bye.